Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and Mario, please don't tell me you're not going to be going to sleep what I was going to be doing in this particular video, so if I have to guess, you might as well be able to do that anyway. So, you know, like, usually what Piglet already does that in the original game, get up already for goodness sake, Mario! Oh jeez, sorry for the louder tone or anything like that. So, anywho, hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and we are back for some more of the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Let's Play of Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Nintendo Wii/Nintendo Wii U eShop downloadable version. So, yeah, last time we managed to able to gather some more Power Stars in World 4, and also we managed to beat the likes out of Bowser, or in this case Giant Bowser, for the second time. So, naturally speaking of such, it's not that much of a challenge honestly. So, yeah, today for this episode is the fact that we're about to be continuing things on and about to be exploring through a whole new world onto World 5. So even then though, although before you're able to actually jump into World 5 actually, first of all I just want to classify for stuffing is that there are some couple of prankster comments I need to able to deal with. Like there's one in well, Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet, and especially noticeable there is another two prankster comments that are usually normally located in Sweet Mystery Galaxy, as well as the forms of Starshine Beach. So I'm also able to do those first. So even then though, and then that way we can definitely jump into World 5 immediately after when these comments challenges are fully completed. So even then though, let's jump into the forms of Bulb Berries, Purple Coin Glow. So even then though, we need to once again grab every single of those purple coins as a matter of fact. So even then though, but this time around though with the bulb berry usage. So even then though, that's as far from the case. So, and it looks like we have Luigi right here, but then again, we'll save him up though until at the future points of this Let's Play. Especially noticeable in the true second half of the game. So even then I'll promise you guys about this, and even then though that I feel that wait shouldn't take too long, honestly, guys, until when it gets to a point until, like, I would say in, the actual recording sessions on Super Mario Galaxy 2 will make a comeback during in September. Well, not right now, though, but, because we don't want to hold up for the actual delaying stuff in between the actual Let's Plays and all that stuff. So even then, no, it's more classify for that. So, once again, folks, I do apologize with the lack of uploading schedules by this point, and once again, my old microphone, specifically the one microphone we are actually going to be using at the moment, not the new one until 2020, mind you, you know, just sometimes, like, disconnected, and sometimes I did not even jinx it or anything. It's just that it just goes all the way down to the volume level, or in this case, just managed to able to completely mute for this whole entire time, and that really ticks me off to say the least, because I'm getting so sick of that microphone. And then once 2020 is about to be on its horizon, I can definitely seem to say that we'll get rid of that old microphone for good and replace it to a new one. So even then, that way that makes the job done, at least as far as I can usually gather for that point. Even though I did manage to test it out off screen, or in this case during my own time, it does take a little bit of a practice, especially noticeable with all the fact that at the moment I did manage to test it out, and it seems to be more accurate though, it's in a little bit of a louder volume at the moment, so I definitely need to figure out some of these settings and stuff for this throughout. So even though it might actually take me some time to able to actually just to work it with, and especially it really helps about the fact that hopefully though, it doesn't go nearly as annoying as that particular microphone that we are still currently using. So even though that will be the case, but even then, that's besides the point right there. So anyways though, today's day is the films of the 19th of July, in this case in 2019, and today, The Lion King remake, as the actual film itself, just managed to came out today for the UK countries, as well as the films of the American countries here and there as well. And I'll talk more details onto that specific film until later, but for now on though, we'll go ahead and jump in onto Starshine Beach for the third time, and because of this though, we have a prankster comment to approach upon. So even though we have another purple coin mission, but this time around though we have Purple Coin Beach Dash. So even though we're still going to be using Yoshi on that particular purple coin mission, but rather than just using the actual glowing berry, or the bulb berry as far as I meant to say, but this time we have a dash pepper to work with. So even then though, and this time also is the fact that, well, we do have a time limit too. So even then though, and also to top it off, that there are about 140 purple coins in total, but the ultimate challenge for this is to grab obviously 100 of them. So even then though, just like the original game, it doesn't really matter of how much purple coins you can get, other than just 100. So even then though, that's as far as the actual challenge goes. So even then though, it takes quite a while to get used to with the actual acceleration, even with the actual handling with you know, Dash Pepper Yoshi, but when you get to figure it out, then you get able to actually just to deal with that mission, no problem. So, it's not too bad though, honestly, unless if you're really trying to go after all 140 of those, purple coins, which, thankfully though, you don't have to worry about the actual strict time limit system this time, because after you grab like 100 of those purple coins, you can able to be free to go before you're able to grab that power star or the Prankster Comet star, and then that way you can now finally able to actually have an ability to able to go whatever you want to go while the time limit is completely out. So at least I'm grateful for that though, unlike the original game, they always have to hurry things up before the actual time the time itself runs out. So that's as far from the case for this point right there. So even now, let's head on to back to World 3 and deal with the Prankster Comet mission in Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet. And then after that, I believe we've only got one more mission left in World 3. So even then though, that will be by the forms of Beach Block Galaxy. So even then though, we'll come across into that at some point in the future. So anyways though, Mega Hammer's Daredevil Bash. And it looks like, thankfully though, we don't have to deal with all this Hammer Bros and shenanigans like that. So even then, we'll just have to jump straight into this particular battle. So even then, and as far as I can gather, that the actual boss fight's dialogue is exactly the same thing as of how it does it on, well, in the forms of the original mission. So even then, there's no point for able to mention about this kinds of stuff at the moment. So it also does that in during the live stream later on though, which I'll probably get into more details onto that whenever we get to that certain point in the future. So even then though, for the majority of the time for this particular mission is that we are faced off against with once again Mecha Hammer, but this time around though we have 1 health for yours. So even then though, that once again we need to able to use the bullet bills to able to deal with the attack and all that stuff. So even then though, it's not that ridiculously challenging, I don't feel like, because even then though, that I've already experienced that before. So even then though, that's far from the case here. So, a few things I want to explain about this, actually, after mentioning about this specific stuff ever since during Wednesday and stuff. Apparently, though, with the forms of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz Remake for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC, not to mention is the fact that, I remember I said this before about the fact that the Xbox One version is probably not going to get its own release treatment on Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz Remake. It turns out, in during the likes of recently, I was completely wrong, because after researching some other more information about that specific remake of the 2006 game, I do actually realize is the fact that not only does it about to be coming out on the Nintendo Switch and PC, PlayStation 4, but now it's going to get itself the official release for Xbox One. So generally now we have the official Super Monkey Ball game on the Microsoft console department ever since the original Xbox. Whilst in the Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 is completely skipped over when it comes to, you know, the actual Super Monkey Ball game series. So, I'm quite surprised about that, actually, whenever I see this one coming. So, even then, though, and speaking of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, usually as far as I can call it Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, if I like to call it that, because that remake is usually calls it that particular game title. Apparently, it does able to actually reveal the actual, trailer of the game, specifically the English version of that specific trailer, and yes, it did manage to able to say in Japan's version of that particular remake, it's about to due out in the exactly the same time as the Halloween day in that specific timeline, and we got ourselves our release dates too, for the likes of, I would say in the early point of, well, for that specific week on, I would say it's about to be during its release until, I would say in 29th of October, which is about 2 days before the Japanese release. So it's kind of like the same thing for how it does it back in 2017, where basically they managed to release the English version of Sonic Forces first, and then after that, then they were able to release the Japanese version until later, like, for instance, in November the 7th from the English version of Sonic Forces, but then in 9th of November, we got ourselves the Japanese version of that game as well. So even though it's kind of like the same thing for Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, but this time around though it's in October, so, and specifically for that stuff, it was on this year, so. Anyway, so that's it for that particular mission, if you can see right there. So we now move on to one of the first stages in World 5, and that was the forms of Space Storm Galaxy. So even then, no. And I don't suppose I've actually mentioned about this, potentially, but yes, the Pole Star mechanics does make a return ever since the original game. However, though, just like the Spring Mushrooms themselves as a power-up, I don't think you're actually going to be seeing that much in terms of Pole Star mechanics in this game this time around, though, because, well, I understand in the original game to make a usage of the Wii Remote gimmick and stuff, but somehow for some odd reason is that the sequel managed able to tone it down with this Pole Star mechanic, which is very understandable if you ask me, but it's just a little bit odd at times. But anyways, there's a comment medal right there, so we can never even forget about this, so even now, because it's super important when it comes to like getting every single, you know, power stars into, you know, decline, so even now. So anyways though, as far as I'm aware with Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, is the fact that, well, I'm really looking forward to able to actually, like, pick it up the actual, game again, but this time around though, in full HD. But not just for that, however, though, once again, much like in, Sonic Forces or anything like that, I'm actually gonna be picking up, both the PlayStation 4 version, just for the sake of the, well, for the trophy support, and especially noticeable for the Nintendo Switch version, so I don't know if we can able to actually do a, some sort of a Let's Play of that game at some point in the future. Well, we'll find things out until then, but for now on though, not now, because even then though, we actually got, you know, other Let's Plays to sort out with for the sake of this year, so even then though, once we're done with all that stuff, then, you know, we can able to focus on some of these, new projects here and there, so even then though, especially noticeable in 2020, we can definitely focusing on some sort of a different routine for once, so, but yeah, you can definitely get the idea of what I'm going to talk about in the future though, but for now on though, we're not going to explain things too much details, so, yeah, for that mission right there is actually known as, Follow Me Bob-omb, because, well, you know, with that little, cage thing we need to bust out it from, well, that's the entire purpose of this mission's, thing right there. And to top it all off, whoa, we got ourselves 4 new galaxies to able to actually open up, including the 5th one, which is usually glowing from a distance. But unfortunately though, no sign with the forms of the 6th galaxy on that specific world so far, if only if we're able to once again, you know, feed the hungry llama, which is not that far from here though, I don't think. But anyways though, so let's head back in here and do the second mission we have is to the top of Top Man's Tower. And does this look very familiar to you guys? If you ever played the actual Bio-based Galaxy from the original game, we have ourselves as some sort of a similar tower as the forms of how it does in the original game. But this time, everything else is a lot faster. So even though the actual main gimmick of this mission, if you couldn't tell, with these little exclamation mark, you know, switches as you can see right there, these can able to actually activate the actual slowdown time, which if you manage to ground pound those, it will slow down everything, including the enemies, objects, and you name the rest. However though, here's something I would like to able to do differently than the likes of how it does in certain other Let's Players. I'm actually going to be going for a little bit of a tougher challenge, because I'm actually going to be able to do the entire mission without even activating the actual time switch at least once. So, I know it's a little bit too risky, but even though since I'm a hardcore gamer, like myself included, I'm actually know what I'm gonna do. So, sure, there are gonna be some mistakes later on though, especially noticeable whenever I failed certain jumps or what have you, but who cares about that, because even now I'm pretty sure I'm like God of all things. So, well, not so much of a god, I'm just usually I'm just a duck, that's all. So even then I just wanna classify that, so anywho though, so let's just double check on that green pipe down there, just for the sake of the forms of, not only just for collecting more of those coins, but also, hopefully we can able to get ourselves more jackpots when it comes to, like, getting some more star bits or what have you. So, yeah, as far as I can say about it. So even then though, let's just see what we can get. Okay, so it's not over yet, because obviously there's a whole line of those coins from vertical position, so, and once we start collecting those, then, sure enough, we get ourselves a nice, lovely reward, which is, of course, star bits, of course. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can equal to actually expect it for this point. So even then, though, now after all, that's, you know, as I mentioned before, no sort of delays between the actual uploading schedules for Super Mario Galaxy 2 so far, which I'm very happy for, because even then, though, back in 2015 and 16, we always attempt to get distracted with several other Let's Players out there, like, for instance, Sonic Riders, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and you name the rest. So, yeah, as far as I can tell for that part. So, Anyways though, oh Jesus Louise, oh no, oh what is going on with grabbing onto ledges? Oh jeez. Oh well, we'll try this again and hopefully with a much more better timing as you probably expected. So, you can also do this technique if you manage to do a speedrun tactics like myself included. However though, there's one little thing I should probably mention about this actually, is the fact that enjoying the likes of an E3 2009 trailer version of this specific scene right here, the actual time switch might be acted out pretty much an oddly shaped, or in this case a oddly shape design of that specific switch. Is more accurately, it's almost like a switch flip thingy right there. Well, I don't know exactly how you call these per se, because I haven't really looked upon several stuff like this. But usually, as far as I can tell, the biggest difference is between the E3 version of this game than the likes of how it does it on the final release of the game is the fact that in the final version of the game, it might actually act out as like a ground pound switch, you know, just like in the other Mario games. But in the E3 2009 version, they managed to able to actually get themselves a little bit of a, well, some sort of a turn knob. So even then, it's a pretty nice little thing to able to mention about this. So even then, that's as far as I can go. But anyways, though, we can either go to these 4 galaxies that we can able to explore, either the Blue Moon Galaxy, or Upside Dizzy Galaxy, or Slip Sand Galaxy, or Shiver Burn Galaxy. And as for me, I'm gonna go for these worlds, or these stages, in a chronological order. So even then, let's get to it with Blue Moon Galaxy. And in this mission we have is Silver Stars Pop-Up. And for that particular pop-up, it's more accurately a pop-up book. So even then, because we'll explain more on that whenever we get to it. So yeah, you probably get the idea for that part. So even then, that once again, we're going to be hearing that, you know, the most nostalgic Super Mario World theme music remixed for that specific game. So, which I always appreciate for that specific stuff, because Super Mario World was easily one of my favorite 2D Mario games of all time, alongside with the forms of Super Mario Bros. 3 and possibly New Super Mario Bros. On the DS or the Wii U installments. Well, for me, as much as I always attempt to give New Super Mario Bros. U some credit for it, that they're making entirely everything in HD, like everything's all clear and all, but honestly, that with the forms of the boss battles in the original New Super Mario Bros. Game on the DS, it makes the boss fights super unique, at least as far as I can usually say about this for the most part. So, anywho though, so I think that's as far as I can say when it comes to any other sort of information and all that stuff, I'm afraid, guys, apart from the fact that recently that again, the Lion King remake has been just recently released on the big screen. And what do I think of it? Once again, much like Aladdin and all that stuff, I found that film to be slightly okay. Well, it is definitely, as far as I can gather, a way more better live-action movie for this year compared to the forms of the other two, which I will say Aladdin's somewhat of the middle, and The Lion King certainly did tops. No. Oh, you son of a biscuit. Oh, god dang it. If you couldn't tell from this point already, I'm actually going to be focusing on that Secret Power mission, or this Secret Power Star mission on this level. In fact, gotta think about it, this is actually one of the hardest Secret Power Stars in the entire game, because, well, it's going to be a lot of timing accuracy going on, because if you screw up at least once, if you manage to get touched by the actual poison swamp, you will die for good, and you have to redo the entire snake block sequence again, which, kind of think about it, actually it's quite not far from here though, at least as far as I can usually say, it's almost right near to that, Comet Medal, would you believe, because even then, it's actually not that far, I don't think. So even then, let's grab that, and long jump, and ignore that launch start completely, and when we get to there, this is where the tricky part comes in, and because of this though, we need to outright run for ourselves, and as a result, the actual snake block itself is almost going pretty too fast for that too, so we need to keep an eye on your toes on that part, and if you manage to make your way to the actual power star, like I do right there, then you would normally do that mission just alright, but then again, this is easily one of the most difficult Secret Power Star missions next to the other one, which we'll get to that at some point on Monday, so generally speaking, yeah, the star in the Sinking Swamp, which is the Hidden Mission Stars mission, as far as the actual name itself, as far as you recall it. And anything happens to it yet, for that specific, Prankster Comet yet, even though there's still no sign of this though, for, you know, for the likes of, I would say, buddy forms within, Beat Block Galaxy and stuff, so, hopefully when it comes to that though, we'll come across into that soon enough. So even then, let's hit back into Silver Star's pop-up mission again. And this time around though, we'll do the normal regular mission, and there's Luigi once again. So even then though, you probably get the suggestions by that. So, another thing I want to point things out right away is the fact that recently, during the likes of Konami of all things, is the fact that they actually did recently announce there was going to be another console mini which is about to due out not in this year, but in the forms of it next year, especially, because you know, as far as you guys can clearly tell, that the Sega Mega Drive Mini is about to be due out first, because of the actual release date is going to be at some point in, I would say about next 2 months for this point now, because even then though, that's, we're actually getting quite close to September, well, after the forms of, August will be over, so even then though, by the forms of that specific stuff for this matter though, is the fact that we have ourselves, as I said before, another mini console, treatment, and this time around though, is actually by the forms of, TurboGrafx, in this case PC Engine, in this case Core Graphics, so, or in this case for this matter, TurboGrafx 16, Console Mini, or PC Engine for Japan. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a possibilities, I have to say so for this matter, because no matter what though, I won't mention more details about the actual game library, because as far as I can tell, you know how the fact that we had 30 games on NES Classic Mini, or in this case Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Mini, and during the likes of Super Nintendo we've got 21 games, and 20 to be more specifically for PlayStation Classic Mini, and especially notable with 40 plus 2 games on Sega Mega Drive Classic Mini. And on TurboGrafx 16 Mini this time, it will be about, I would say, 50 of those games. Well, again, I'll mention more details onto that during the likes of it next week or so, or if Sonic were able to mention more details onto that whenever he comes back onto NES Remix 2, at some point in the forms of next Tuesday and next Thursday. So even then though, chances are that might actually get some consumption for this throughout. So even then though, yeah, you probably get the idea. So in this mission, as you can see right there, obviously we still need to collect those silver stars, and if you do that, then chances are Power Star actually appears. So, one thing I actually really liked about this planet though is the fact that this usually takes place in the actual pop-up book, because if you manage to activate the switch, it actually managed to able to make the actual book come to life, even for the actual pop-up 3D imagery book. So, I usually had familiar with these as a kid, but no longer have those because I'm basically too old for that, honestly, because, well, it's cool back in the day, but every now and then, I'm too old for that stuff. So even then though, and we have ourselves another letter, so let's see what this is from. Help wanted. Again, I've got a few odds and ends I need taken care of. If you don't mind a little hard work, come find me. I'm working over in Space Storm Galaxy, make it worth a while. So, yeah, we have ourselves the second gear mode mission, but even then though, and this time around though, it's going to take place in, well, Space Storm Galaxy this time, so even then though, we'll, come across into that, but first of all though, let me take care of Boom Moon, Galaxy first, so even then I was able to get this, you know, that stage completed first, and then hopefully we'll jump back into, Space Storm Galaxy and do another mission from that way, so, haunting the Howling Tower. So in this case, we have ourselves, we have another returning power-up from the original game. And I think, fundamentally though, this will be the final power-up in Super Mario Galaxy 2. So even then though, we got ourselves quite familiar new ones from the past, and now we actually come across into the final power-up in the entire game, which is essentially the Boom Mushroom, which I can assure to you, it might act out very similar to the forms of how it does in the original game. So even then though, that might get a little bit of a more of a coincidence anyway. It's not so much coincidence anyway, it's just more accurately, it's pretty awesome to see that specific power-up again. But even then though, I'll get into more details onto that specific point later. But even then though, we need to navigate for that specific Dark Room of Maze first. So even then though, because in order to actually, sometimes it gives me a lot of dead ends occasionally. So even then though, luckily, if you manage to see those coins from a distance, that way it can able to lead you to the continuation of the actual mission. So, but even then though, once you made to the actual pipe, then not only do we get ourselves a checkpoint, but of course, you transformed into Boom Mario Shake the Wiimote to vanish. So, I think this will be the final time we're going to be seeing this particular, you know, you know, that music instructions thingy right there, every time you actually firstly introduce the power-up music at this point, because, well, I said this before, this is actually the last power-up in Super Mario Galaxy 2. I know it's not much in comparison to the originals, but even though that I think it has like the exact same amount of power-ups, but there are some like replacements. Like, you know, there wasn't a flying Mario anywhere, or especially noticeable, there wasn't any ice power-ups even at this time. And I think that's about it when it comes to that specific point right there. Well, aside from that, you know, spin drill, which is a new thing, and especially noticeable with the cloud flower, which is also a new thing, and also the rock mushroom is also new. So, generally speaking, we got 3 new power-ups, and just about to be replacing the other 2 power-ups from the original game, I suppose. Although, it's hard to explain about this stipulation sometimes, I will admit though, but even then though, let's just go all the way up to the top, because that's the whole entire purpose of this level, because that's the whole entire thing you weren't able to realize how the boom mushroom actually worked out, and basically it plays out exactly like how it did in the original game, where basically you have yourselves the ability to able to go through those little fences, and you can able to press the A button rapidly into able to actually decide to hover up. So, and look at that, 74 number, not to be confused as CapKing74, a YouTube friend of mine. So, yeah, it's pretty worth noting for this part. What do you have here? Or what do we have here? It looks like a soft white mushroom, huh? You know, the stuff you're finding is pretty weird, but I guess that's just the universe we live in, right? I guess you might well think so, Lupper. I'm really guaranteed by that. So, in this case, we've only got the one last power-up on that specific power-up storage, but that will be for, I would say a fire flower, but then again, we'll come across into that entering on Monday. So even then though, let's just hit back here and, you know, just try to travel back to, you know, Space Storm Galaxy to do the secret mission. So even then though, hopefully we can able to get these done before we're able to actually continue on for the majority of the points. So even then though, let's just hit back into Follow Me Baba mission. And basically, I believe the secret mission is always attempted to be located at the very end of the actual level. So, you remember that one time where you have to avoid the actual instant homing of those, you know, homing electrical ball thingies right there. So even then, we need to make our way from that point right there. So even then, hopefully we could able to do some hardcore tricks here and there though, with all this skipping through those little shortcuts and what have you, even though I might as well able to actually take myself a little bit too risky on that part, especially I just did not even see that. Oh, Mario, can you grab the ledge? Grab the ledge! Okay. Oh, for goodness sake, grab the ledge! Or grab the ledge! Ah. Oh, jeez, that doesn't work for me that half the time. Oh well, whatever. At least we managed to respawn onto that specific point right there, so, oh well though, let's just go ahead and just continue things on. So, I just cannot believe I cannot even grab the actual ledge, or in this case for that little specific edge right there, for that platform, and I just can't even grab the ledge of it. So, yeah, it might be one of those rare occasions where, sometimes though, if I was trying to do some speedrun tactics most of the time, but most of the time though, I just keep on getting screwed over due to the forms of how the fact that it doesn't really matter if it's either Luigi or Mario in this game. Sometimes the majority of the time, my ledge grabbing does not even work half the time. Well, usually in most cases though anyway though, so, but it doesn't really bother me honestly, so even then, oh, it happened again! Jeez. Anyways, let's go ahead and launch ourselves to this next planetoid, so even then I just want to able to actually make our way to that specific gear mode for that specific time. So, I don't suppose we're able to actually come across into a Prankster Common missions for quite a while at this rate, because after all, we actually done quite a few amounts of them, honestly, because even then, though, we actually done those from the past few videos ago, and all that stuff, so even then, though, hopefully enjoying the likes of in the next couple of videos ahead, then we should be able to actually keep on things moving to that specific point. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that. So, and another thing I should probably mention about this, actually, is the fact that we've only got about next week or so until the new Super Luigi U physical version, in this case the actual physical copy of New Super Luigi U in the UK's release date, it will be 6 years old in that. And then I remembered I was originally trying to get the physical version of New Super Luigi U for the collector's item, but because I accidentally got myself New Super Mario Bros. U physical version back in 2012, and as far as I can tell from the back, it says you're not allowed to acquire New Super Mario Bros. Standalone version or something, although I may be wrong, but even then, let me know in the comments below. So even then, or in this case, let me know in the comments below, I should say, sorry. So, anyway, so what we need to do here is the fact that once we're able to find Guillermo right here, which is actually silver version this time, and basically, this is the reason why we managed to able to guide that top man enemy right near to the actual Guillermo, and if you've done so already, then obviously the Power Star is entirely rewarded. So even Neno, come over here, and we are done. Sure, it's actually a lot more tricky and difficult compared to the forms of how it does it in, Boulder Ball Galaxy this time, because now we actually come across into a lot of holes to able to actually just to dodge for those. So even then, once you get the hang of it, as I said this before, then you were able to do this mission just fine. So even then, and I think that pretty much does it for Space Storm Galaxy, at least as far as I can definitely tell for that specific part right there. So there we go, and we instantly transport right over there. So even then, because, well, we have ourselves another guest on that specific Starship Mario planet. So, yeah, how's all for that? So, alright, so, is that a Guillermo? Well, I hope it doesn't try to put everyone to work. Maybe it will finally want to relax for a change. And also have a nice little cup of tea at the top of the loft too. So even then, I think that it will seem to safe. Sorry, I can't speak today for this point, folks. I guess we'll have the endings of as far as it will go for this point, I'm afraid, guys. So join me next time on Let's Play Super Mario Galaxy 2. Is that we're about to be continue on with World 5 and possibly getting some more Power Stars along the way. So see you guys then. Later, fellas.